We're going to talk about the Wolves-Arsenal game, and first of all, we'll remind you of the big call made in the first half to send off Myles Lewis. No need for Michael to go to the screen, and they were happy with the decision, and it would indeed be a straight red card. In the last few minutes, there has been a further statement from the PGMOL in reference to Michael Oliver and the abuse that's come his way over the last 24 hours, which reads this: "We're appalled by the threats and abuse directed at Michael Oliver following the Wolves-Arsenal fixture. No official should be subject to any form of abuse, let alone the abhorrent attacks aimed at Michael and his family over the past 24 hours. The police are aware and a number of investigations have commenced. We are supporting Michael and all those affected and are determined to tackle this unacceptable behaviour." Sadly, this is not the first time a match official's been forced to deal with threats in recent times. Earlier this month, an individual was identified and reported to the authorities. We will continue to support all investigations. So that statement from the PGMOL, the referee's body, in the last 15-20 minutes or so on the abuse that has come the way of Michael Oliver and towards his young family. Regardless of whether you think it was the right decision or not, is this where we want our game to go, Jamie, in terms of the hounding and abuse that is coming officials' way on a regular basis now?
No, it's absolutely disgraceful. I think we're getting to the point now with referees. If you're right, you're right. If you're wrong, you're corrupt. If we get to that point, we won't have any young referees that ever decide to want to go and be a referee in a game. I think it's disgraceful behaviour. But Michael Oliver is by far and away the best Premier League referee we've got. I don't think it's even close. Do I think it's a red card? No. I actually think, and I'd hate for this to come in, it almost feels like a bit of an amber, because it's a calculated challenge. It's not a great challenge, and I actually think it will get overturned. And Michael will probably, had a bit more time, he might have probably only given a yellow this time. But that, for me, is just so unacceptable. Everyone makes mistakes, but they're honest mistakes. You know, we can count on probably one hand how many he's made in his career. He's a phenomenal referee. I always think every match that he does it with integrity. If I were to play one more game in my life, he would be the referee that I'd want to do it, because I think he's that good. So, disgraceful behaviour, and I just certainly hope that whoever's given this abuse, you know, gets found out, because the quicker that happens, I think it's like people on social media, cowards that go on there and start having a go at nameless people. It's just not acceptable.
When you and your family are feeling threatened, Jamie, this is where we're getting to now with referees. Why would anybody want to do that job?
Yeah, that's the fear. You know, when you think of you know, referees, and sometimes I feel like a little bit of a hypocrite, because I was one of the worst certainly on the pitch in terms of getting into referees, but certainly when you come out of that bubble of playing and you're sort of looking at it. I actually mentioned today, I actually felt for the referee before half time, where everyone was just trying to con him. You know, diving, staying on the pitch, trying to get players booked and sent off. And, you know, without a referee, you've got no game. You know, and I do worry about what Jamie's just mentioned there. You know, where do you get officials? And do we want the standards raised? Yeah, of course we do. We always want it to be better. That doesn't mean we can't critique referees and expect higher standards. And whether it's, you know, something was a poor decision, we've got to push for that. But there's a line you can't cross, and this situation, and it all stems from social media. And I'm quite active on social media, but the stuff I see from every set of supporters, this is not just Arsenal supporters yesterday, this is every set of supporters, including my own Liverpool. It's tiresome listening to them talking about referees and always thinking their team are the ones who they're always getting wronged, and there's a conspiracy, the corrupt against my team. It's embarrassing to see people actually speak like that, and they actually believe all these officials or the Premier League. I mean, I commentate now, and every week you'll hear a chant in the stadium, the Premier League corrupt. You know, it's just like, where are we at with the game here? When people actually believe, I mean, this is not happening, but people actually do believe these things. You know, the officials or the Premier League have got it in for their team, but nobody else. They've only got him for their team, but all the other 19 teams know that they're pro them, but they're just against my team. It's embarrassing and it's a nonsense. But a lot of it, 90% of it's social media.
Lee, you were there yesterday. You were commentating on the game. What did you make of the incident and the process that they followed?
Well, I was with Jackie Oatley, and straight away she said yellow card, and obviously it was quickly a red card. Which I actually thought it was initially a yellow card. I've seen obviously the slow-mos and seen the slow vision of it, and it looks a little bit. It gives you a bit of an idea where you're at and what decisions you're actually making. I mean, it does look naughty when it's slowed down, but definitely if you're called over and actually you can see it visually, it was quick to get the red out. That's the only thing.
I know what you're saying there, Leah, and I hear that all the time from supporters. But the VAR doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
They don't say to him, go and have a little look and see what you think. It doesn't work like that. They only ask them to go and have a look if they think he's made a mistake. It's not a case of, oh, see what you think type. If they think he's made a mistake, that's only when they'll go and see it. Now, I listen to the same as you. What happens a lot of the time is if the referee, they're in communication, he's made his decision. A lot of the time, if the referee's describing to VAR what he's seeing, if he describes actually what has happened, I think it was a bad tackle, he's caught him there, and what he is saying is actually factually right in terms of that did happen. The VAR, and I don't naturally agree with this, but a lot of the time they say, but if he describes it like that, it's your opinion against my opinion, and they're not going to go against each other. If he describes it and he says something's happened that hasn't happened, that's a lot of the time when they send them to the video. So they don't. It's not a case of go and have a little look at that again. It doesn't work like that.
I just find that the decision was quite quick, though.
Quick, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and that's where I just think
I spoke to a couple of experts who would say that they actually think it is a red card. They think it's dangerous. You're endangering an opponent. You're stopping the counter attack. Because the other side of it is if he does get him on the ankle. If he goes and rolls his ankle, he has to come off in the game and he's out for 4 weeks. It's not a great challenge. Let's not get it straight. But does he deserve that abuse? Absolutely not. And I think that he'll be the first to say maybe I got that wrong. Could have bought a little bit of time for myself. He's gone in with a red card straight away. But referees make mistakes. Footballers make mistakes every week. That's life. But I think if we're going to start getting to the point where every mistake's corruption, we're in a really dangerous place here.
Yeah, we can separate the two, what we spoke about at the start, the actual abuse. But in terms of the decision, if we go back to VAR again, I'm just explaining sort of when I'm listening how it works and the communication between the two. But yeah, referees make mistakes, but that's the reason why we have VAR.
Safety net.
Yeah, it's there to sort of, right the wrongs, if you like. And for me, it was a yellow card.
I know exactly what you're saying, but it's still VAR is only still a matter of opinion. It's not a matter of a fact. You know what I mean? There's only one person. Well, we can disagree on every decision that we see, so it still doesn't make it right, does it? VAR.
No, but what I'm saying is the whole point, that's the reason for it. Now, VAR is never still going to get everything. It's not some machine, it's still a
exactly. It's an opinion,
but the reason that we give for Michael Oliver making the mistake is because he sees it in half a second, it happens 100 miles an hour, and he makes his decision. You're on the pitch, hot atmosphere. The whole point of VAR is you can stand back, cooler environments, away from the stadium, you can have 2 or 3 looks at it, and then we can hopefully
Do you
get
think
to the right
his word
decision.
carries more weight than other referees?
His
word. So VAR might not want to go against his decision because he's the top ref.
Oh, of course. But that's Michael Oliver, that's Andy Taylor, and that's not just in terms of officials and VAR, that's any walk of life, that's any business that you're in. If the guy who everybody in the refereeing fraternity sort of looks up to and respects says he thinks this is what's happened, it's going to be very difficult for a younger referee or someone less experienced to go and challenge him and disagree with him.
No, I agree, absolutely. Michael Oliver he's held in the highest of esteem, and I think for someone that's on the VAR, probably looking at it going, do I really want to go against him? You have to be strong, you have to stand up against it, and it wasn't the right decision. I'm sure Michael knows that right now. He's probably thinking maybe I made a rick there, but everyone makes ricks in their life.
The really interesting thing about everyone automatically thinks it's going to be rectified, and I think 99% of people think it was probably a yellow card, but there was a situation last weekend in my son's game for Wigan where Jensen Weir, he made a challenge not too dissimilar that where the ball had already gone, he was stopping a counter-attack. A shock when the red card comes out, but it didn't get rescinded.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see where this story goes next. Arsenal, of course, I'm sure will put in appeal and
they'll win it, I think.
We'll see the outcome of that over the coming days, no doubt.